for you. I'm going to post them. I'm going to email them home. If you have an 8, 9, or 10, you can ignore the email. But if you didn't have an 8, 9, and 10, I suggest that you look at this one more time and then ask questions today, and then do a redo so we can get you up to an 8, 9, or 10. That's the goal. Okay, so I'm going to space this out a little bit. And just going to explain the ideas here. So when we look at number 1, remember the rules. Let me see if I have those rules. I'm going to, hold on here. Pause this. Okay, so there we go. Let's look at 2 pages and remind ourselves of the rules. The rules are to see if you can simplify the fractions. Always do that first, unless you see a real nice, quick, short method. Get a common denominator, second rule, and then the third rule, compare numerators, and that would be for problems 1, 2, and 3. So if we look at problem 1, the first thing we want to look at is that 3 and 3 are equal, so the only part we have to compare is the fractions. Okay? So when we compare the fractions, we could simplify. We can simplify 3, 6. So there's different ways to do this one. One is to simplify 3, 6, and most of you know, but in case you don't, 3, 6 is 1/2. So if you forget that, which I don't think you will, you can always look for common factors and divide by 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So we're really comparing 1/2 to 8/18. And so if you think about that, we can now multiply 1/2 up, multiply the denominator by 9 to make an 18 here. And you can multiply the numerator by 9 to make a 9. So now we know that 9 is bigger than 8, so we have a bigger than. But this was one of the problems that I also said you could use benchmark fractions for. So, Quinn.
Well, I just did it. You can do, I just know 3, 6 is 1/2 and 8/18 is less than 1/2.
That's right. So this is the one type of problem you could just say 3, 6 is 1/2 because 3 is half of 6. 8 is less than half of 18.
That's exactly.
What's half of 18?
9.
9. So you know that 8/18 is less. So you could then just write that in. Now, on every problem that doesn't work, but if that was your strategy on that problem, it's perfect because you're doing what we call comparing to a benchmark fraction. And that's a goal this year, is to look at something real quick and say, hey, this one's half, this one's less than half. I'm just going to put the inequality. The inequality being this little symbol, right? This is the inequality. So on the back side of your sheet, if you missed number 1, you should be correcting. Michaela.
Can we write the numbers that we missed on the back?
Yeah, just write number 1 and redo it.
Yeah, I know, but does it have to be in order?
Well, if you only missed 1 and 4 and 5, then just do 1, 4, and 5.
Yeah, so you
just in a square.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right. Okay, so let's take a look at number 2. So number 2, we go back to those rules. The rules are, see if you can simplify the fraction. So when I look at number 2, can I simplify 2 7s? 2 and 7 have any common factors? No. Can I simplify 5/14? No. Okay, so no, can't do that. So then get a common denominator. Well, some of you are going to be able to see right away. I can multiply 7 to get 14 real easily. What number am I going to multiply by? Yeah, Sammy. 2, right? So your common denominator, also one thing I should have said is make sure that you see the whole parts are equal. So since 5 is equal to 5, we're only going to be working with the 2 7s. And we're going to do what Sammy said, we're going to multiply by 2 to get to that 14. So we'll multiply this by 2, and we get 4. So you have 4/14 here, and you're comparing to 5/14 here. So 5/14 is bigger than 4/14, so the symbol goes that way. Sasha.
So, no, I'm just saying I was really confused with number 3.
Okay, we're gonna do number 3. Let's make sure everybody's okay with number 2.
Number 3 was like the hardest.
Number 3 was the hardest. So Jackson, you were absent for all of this. This would be a good thing to, but maybe after you watch it, I'll print up the notes and you can try yourself. Okay. Because it's a lot of days. Yeah, that would be good too. Okay, number 3 was the more difficult of the problems. But let's go back to the rules over here, right? See if you can simplify the fractions. Raise your hand if you did that. Look around the room, guys. Not very many people followed the first step. Okay.
I just got a comment. I got 3, 4.
Okay, so first of all, we want to check to make sure the holes are equal. Are 3's equal to 3, right?
Yeah.
So we only need to, I'm going to make this a little bigger. We only need to think about simplifying the fractions then. So I'm going to take my 15/20s and I'm going to divide by a common factor. What, Haley, Marlon, what goes into 15 and 20? 5. Okay, so 5 is what I'm going to divide by. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. 20 divided by 5 is what? 4, right? So here's my question, guys. Before you simplify the other one, can you build up to 28 now?
Yes. 4. Yes. 4 to 7. 4
You can. What would you have to multiply by?
7.
7, right. So, Kanan, what's 4 times 7? What? What's 4 times 7?
28.
And so what about 3 times 7?
3 times 7.
Yeah. So, Andrew, why is that helpful?
He's copying.
Did you get to this part already?
Mm-hmm.
So why is that helpful? Can you think about why? Okay, Michaela, help us out here. Andrew, I'm going to come back to you.
Because now you know that 21 over 28 is bigger than 20 over 28.
Yeah, right? We're comparing this to this. So we're going to put that there. Andrew, so come back to what step are you on?
What step am I on?
Yeah, like, so I can help you. I'm not sure that you got that down. So why is it helpful to go reduce and then make the denominator 28? And get the numerator to be 21. What do we do next to figure out this answer? What are we comparing? You know? So 15/20 is also what over 28? Yeah, and 21 is bigger than 20. Okay, does that help? So could I have simplified both sides? I could have, you guys. It would work. Does anybody want me to do that way?
I did the common denominator, but that was
Okay, the big common denominator is hard though, right? So let's say, Sasha, question?
I got the right answer, but you took 2 points off.
Okay, but did you have any work for that?
Well, yeah, but I erased it.
Okay, so that's why. I need to have the work. That's what I'm really looking for. Okay, so don't erase it next time. So let's do this using the common denominator method where we simplify. So we know 3 and 15/20 we now know is 3 and 3/4. So this is another method. If I simplify 20 out of 28, I'm going to do that right here. What goes in, Joe, to 20 and 28? What? 4, sure, 4 does. So divide by 4. Divide by 4. And you get 5 over 7, right? You with me on that? So now we have to get a common denominator using the 3/4 and the 5/7. So this works too. This way works too. So let's make a little more room here. Bring this down. And take the next step. So we're trying to compare 3 3/4 to 3 5/7. You can't multiply 4 by anything easy to get 7. So you could think division ladder. So 4 and 7 only have 1 in common. So 4 divided by 1 is 4. 7 divided by 1 is 7. So what it tells you by doing that is your common denominator is 28. So it's like an extra step, but it gets you to the right place. Mark, you should be following along with these. You've got this one correct? Okay. So 4 times 7 is 28. So I'm going to take my 3 3/4, and it tells me to multiply my 4 by 7. So that's what I do. I multiply the top by 7 and the bottom by 7, and I get 21 over 28. But it also tells me to multiply over here the 7 by 4 and the 5 by 4, and it gets me to 3 and 20 over 28. But we already knew that, didn't we? We knew that from the very beginning. So the worst thing that happens is you do an extra step. But then you end up in the exact same place. So it's better if you look up here where we were before. In this table, we've reduced the 3/4 down, and before we simplify the other side, we tried to build the other denominator up. It's just one less step. That's the hard problem. That was definitely the challenge problem on there. And we could practice a few of those. Raise your hand if you have a question. So these are different. When you look at the rules, you can still use the same rules. You can still check to see if you can simplify the fractions. And then so on this one, if we look at number 4, we can't simplify the fractions, so we go to the next step, get a common denominator. Can I get the 5 to become a 25?
Yes.
Yeah, I would just have to multiply by 5. So you just do the same thing to the top and the bottom, and you get 10. So we didn't even need to go to step 3 there. So now let's go to number 4. Can I simplify well, there's only one fraction to look at. Can I simplify 12 15s down? Okay, Sarah, what do they divide? What's common to 12 and 15? 3, right? Good. So divide by 3, divide by 3, and this gives you 4, and what do you have in the denominator? 4/5, right? Now, let's go back to that, can we get a 10 here?
I just did times 5.
Yeah,
And
because
then
5 times 5 is 25, and then you times the
10.
top by 5, and then
10.
You're on a different problem, right?
No, I'm on 4.
And we're on 5.
Oh my.
Okay, so let's go back to 5. We simplified down here to get 4/5. Now we're trying to get to 10. So we're going to multiply by 2.
Oh, that's what I did too.
Yeah, and that gives me an 8. So that's what goes here.
I simplified 12 15ths into 4/5.
Right. So did I. Look at that. I simplified 12 15ths into 4/5, and then I simplified 4/5. I built it up to 8/10. How are we doing? So Haley, let's see, I already called on Haley. Eric, I haven't called on you. Look at number 6. Can you simplify 18/24 down?
Yes.
Yes. So let's make a little section here. So how does 18/24 simplify down? Okay, divided by 2. Let's move that over. That would be fine. Divide by 2. And what do you get when you divide by 2?
9/12.
9/12. So, can we change 12 to 40 at all? Is that easy? Not really. Can we simplify 9/12 down? Divide by what? Divide by 3. Divide by 3. So we get, what do we get? 3/4. Good. Now can we change 3/4 to something over 40? Yeah. So the missing number, to get to that, I have to multiply the 4 by
10.
10. Good job. So that means I have to multiply the 3 by 10.
30.
Thank you. And I get 30. A little messy there. So 30 is the right answer. Okay, raise your hand if that's helpful. Are we feeling a little stronger about this? I'm going to save this and post it. And I'll post it.